for joining our call today for our Believe in Me Foundation for Kids Scholarship Program information session. We've got a few folks from our organization here that are joining the call today. I have Leslie Cogley, and she is our grants administrator and is helping to facilitate our scholarship program. We also have Kirsten Benz on our call today. She is a project manager here at Believe in Me and helps us kind of make sure that all of our projects stay on track, as well as our marketing coordinator, Alexandra Martinez, is calling in from Seattle, Washington. So thank you so much for joining our information session today. And for those of you who are just joining, please feel free to raise a hand or ask a question. We want to make this information session as valuable as possible for you. So if you find yourself with a question, we will answer those as we go along, and hopefully we'll get all of your questions answered and get these kids ready to fill out their applications and submit some successful scholarship requests. So without any further ado, we'll go ahead and get started. So our scholarship program is all about empowering marginalized students towards their educational success. And as you may already be aware, as you know, a college counselor or a student yourself, our academic system is really set up for kids who are already, kind of set up for success. So what happens if you find yourself in a situation where maybe your grades are a little bit lower, or you're a first generation college attendee, meaning nobody in your family has ever really gone to college. Maybe nobody's ever been through the process, and you don't have a whole lot of mentors, so you really don't know what direction to take or how you can get funded for school if that's something that you want to do. And so with the Believe in Me Foundation for Kids, we are really invested in making sure that every kid is set up to succeed, and what that pathway looks different for every different student. Maybe it's a trade school, maybe it's junior college, maybe it's some sort of a certificate and not a degree. Degrees are great, but as we know that there's a labor shortage and across all the different sectors. And so making sure that we're equipping students not just for pursuing post-secondary, university or college attendance, but also those trade schools, and really filling in the gaps in our community and providing a means for students to really live out their dream and do what works best for them. That's really what we're all about. So we're hoping to fill in the gaps where other scholarship programs are not. So for those of you who have just recently joined, please feel free to pipe in and ask questions as we go along. We want to make sure this is as beneficial as possible for all of you. We want to get those questions answered. So I'm going to start off, and I didn't really introduce myself. My name is Julie Wukelik, and I'm the Chief Executive Officer here at Believe in Me Foundation for Kids. We're really excited to initiate the scholarship program. This is our first year. We have $50,000 in funding available for students, and we're really excited to see how that's going to help them develop the self-confidence that they need to succeed in life. So I'm going to go ahead and hop over to our scholarship page, which you'll find right on our website. That's at believeinme.org/scholarships. And we've done a pretty good job, I think. And once again, we're open to any suggestions for improvement. This is our first year really launching this scholarship program, and we want to make sure that we're giving you the information that you need in order to fill these scholarship applications out efficiently, and really empowering you to kind of work through this process and get a successful scholarship funding. So first thing to do is to check your eligibility. So just high level, the students that are eligible for this scholarship would be marginalized students that are in Washington State or Northern Idaho, who can really demonstrate that they possess the leadership, the grit, and the perseverance needed to be successful in their pathway towards educational success. And that looks different for every student. So we want to make sure that these are first generation college students, so meaning that no one in their family has ever really successfully completed college, and that we want to make sure that, they're on track to get a high school diploma or a GED, and that they're planning to enroll at some sort of an accredited higher learning institution. So as I mentioned earlier, trade schools, junior college, college, university, they all fit the bill. I'd say the only thing that we're probably not really excited about funding would be graduate degrees. And, you know, if they've already earned a 4-year degree, then that's not something that we are interested in funding. So I am going to, you know, we've got a quick little graphic here. That's our roadmap to success. And as we all know, that's kind of a windy little road. But ours is a little bit different than many other scholarship application processes in that we've got this info session here. Not many scholarship programs are offering this type of assistance and help in successfully applying for the application. So we, like I said before, we really want to empower students to work through this process and provide them with the information they need to be successful. So one of the fun things that they get to do up front is to record a video. Rather than, you know, pulling students in and having our committee have to do any type of interviews, this is an opportunity for the students to really shine and to show their personality and to really give us an idea of why we should fund them. So that's kind of step number one. We also do require a couple of recommendations, one from an academic reference as well as a personal reference. And the cool part about that is we don't put the onus of having to get those recommendations in on the student. We try to make it as easy as possible by literally just asking for a name, phone number, and email address, and we take it from there. The only part of that process that we ask the student to own is to, number one, give their references a heads up before they put their name down on the application, just so that they know that it's coming and to kind of keep an eye out for it. Secondly, we will send out an electronic form for those references to fill out, just a few quick questions. We don't require a letter of reference because we have specific questions that we'd like to have addressed by those references. And so after we send those out, we will keep the student informed as to whether or not those references or recommendations have been received by our office. If we haven't, we'll let them know that they might want to reach out to the people providing the recommendations, just to remind them and to say, hey, are you going to get that in? They are due by March 15th. We have a pretty tight timeline with our review committee to get those in and reviewed. So we want to make sure that all the paperwork gets in on time. And when I say paperwork, it's all electronic. So, and then there's an application that the student will need to submit as well. Giving us the video and putting the names down for these recommendations are part of submitting that application. So we always kind of tell the student to get all of that stuff ready ahead of time and then submit the application all in one piece. However, we do provide the opportunity for them to save the application as they go along, and they can go back and make tweaks to it. So we don't start reviewing applications until all the pieces are in place. So we do ask for an unofficial transcript from the school. Students will be provided with the family authorization form, which I'll kind of go over as well. That needs to be printed and signed by parents. If the student is over 18 years of age, they can sign it for themselves, but we will need that in order to communicate with the schools, as well as for the student to just provide that to the school to get their unofficial transcript and upload it into their application. So hopefully we're providing all the tools that the student needs in order to submit their application. And the deadline for those applications is March 15th. Our scholarship review committee will be reviewing it within that 2-week period between March 15th and April 1st. We will be going through and verifying for those students that we feel are great candidates for the scholarship. We will be doing some fact checking just to make sure that the information that's submitted on the application is accurate. So we may be giving a school a call. We might give a reference a call if we have some follow-up questions, but there's a 2-week window there where we're doing our due diligence to make sure that we are funding those scholarship applications that are in line with our giving protocols. And then winners will be notified via email by April 1st. And inside that email will be an award acceptance form that the student will have to fill out. And that award acceptance form is due no later than April 30th. And on that form, they'll probably have to kind of give us an idea of what school they're going to be attending. And from that, we will be able to contact the school and let them know that the funding is going to be coming to their financial aid office. That financial aid office will need to verify that the student is in fact enrolled, and those enrollment verification forms are due on September 30th. At that point, the scholarship will be fully funded, and the student will receive those funds through the school, through their financial aid office. So having said all this, this is our first year with this process. It'll be our first time working with those schools. So we appreciate your patience. If you do end up being an awardee, that there could be a couple of hiccups here or there, but we're really doing our best to try to make sure this is streamlined as possible and invite your feedback throughout that process. So now that I've kind of given you a high-level overview of the roadmap to getting funded, I kind of wanted to share with you some of the other pieces of our website and the form, just to offer an opportunity for questions and answers. So first off is our family authorization form. Students are welcome to print this out here if they'd like to. You can write in the student's name, the parent or legal guardian's name, your school name, and the school's address. And then the student and parent will need to sign this family authorization form. This is required for the schools to be able to release information to us. It's a requirement through the Family Educational Rights and Privacy Act of 1974. But you can take this to your counselor or your guidance office and request unofficial transcripts through their process, and hopefully get a copy of that in PDF form that you can upload as part of your application. Secondly, we are asking students to record that video. Like I said, this is in lieu of any type of a formal interview process that they would need to do. This is all digital. You can use your phone, you can use a tablet, you can use your desktop. There's a little instructional video there by yours truly. But we've got some information there about, how to make a good video, and then exactly what questions we're hoping to have answered. You literally, you can record the video using your computer and upload it right away and submit it. It gives you an opportunity to re-record it if you don't like it. And it's just a nice, fun way for us to get to know the student and to really put a face to a name and a story. That storytelling aspect inside here is really important to us. We really want to know about who was that person that believed in you, and who's that person that has helped you to believe in yourself, and how has that shaped your ability to really feel confident that you're going to be able to attain your future educational goals. We want to kind of tie, what we're all about back to this student who is applying for the scholarship. So tell us your Believe in Me story. Who believed in you, and how has that set you up for success educationally? And once you get that all completed, we'll have access to that on the back end, so you don't need to worry about uploading any other videos or giving us links to anything after that. We will connect everything together when we are putting your scholarship package together for our review committee. That's kind of a fun step in the process that's a little different than some. And this recommendation form is different than what's actually going to be sent to your references, but it gives you an idea of kind of some of the questions that we're going to be asking. And this is here just for review only, just for students to kind of have an idea what we're going to be asking their references. The references might want to know, so that's why we're making this available. But we literally just, want to match them up to the student, need their name, work email, a phone number. We're going to ask them how long they've known the applicant and how they know that applicant. Secondly, and this is really how we match the student up to what we do and what we care about, and that is, how do you match up with some of these characteristics for students that we really want to give our funding to. And so whether you're an American Indian, Alaska Native, African American, we have all these demographics of what we would consider students that aren't traditionally set up to succeed, and we want to help them get over those barriers. So you can check 1, you can check 2, you can check 5. If all of them apply, check them all. But we just are really wanting to see how you match up here. But from this standpoint, we're asking your references if they're aware of any of these challenges that you may have faced in your life. And then we're asking them questions like, how has the candidate demonstrated leadership? You know, what are their educational and career goals? Provide details on why you think they have a potential for success in meeting those goals. And then explain how, you know, the student has really shown grit, determination, resiliency in overcoming the barriers to success that we mentioned earlier in this reference. And that's literally all we have as far as questions for those references. We're trying to keep it short, sweet, and to the point. And like I said, this form is not the way that you submit that. We're just providing that as a means for students to communicate with that with their potential references. We will email their references with an online form where they just fill this all out quickly. And then moving on, we will be hyperlinking later today a sample application PDF so students can literally just scroll through there and look and see what all the questions are going to be before they actually start filling out the form. It's just a nice way to kind of read through whether or not it's going to be worth their time to fill out the application. So one of the biggest questions that we get is, am I eligible for a scholarship? So we've tried to really break this down into our highest priority categories of what we would fund. And number one would be, we want you to be a first generation post-secondary education seeking student. So you don't have to be going to just a college or university. You can also go to an independent private career school or a trade school. But really, we want you to be the first person in your family to really navigate through this process. And so that's number one. Number two, you need to be attending school in either Washington State or North Idaho. And on our application, we have a list of all the schools that are accredited through both Washington State and Idaho. So those are the schools that we would consider eligible for funding. So that you'll have to go through the application to figure that out for sure. If you are pursuing an education at a 2-year college, 4-year college, or university, independent private career school, or trade school, our GPA requirement is much lower than many scholarship opportunities. And the reason for that is we fully understand that a lot of those challenges we were talking about earlier may provide some obstacles for you to reach that 3.0 goal. So we've lowered it a bit in exchange for you showing us how you can demonstrate leadership, grit, perseverance, determination. All of those are ways that you can show us that, yeah, my GPA might be a little lower than some of my peers that are applying for those other scholarships, but I have what it takes to get through this program and really reach my educational goals. And once again, I mentioned those marginalized groups that we are funding, so you'd have to fit within those categories. And we also mentioned the community references that you're going to have to provide, both an academic and a personal reference. And we'd like to see that you're involved in extracurricular activities, that you have a job, that you're involved in some sort of religious functions or volunteer activities. We just want to see that you're kind of invested in yourself, invested in the future, invested in the community, and really going to be providing you've already shown and demonstrated that you've got that determination and drive to really succeed.
I want to jump in real quick, Julie, and just mention that it is both a requirement that the students attend school in Washington and North Idaho currently, and then on the flip side, it is a requirement that they're seeking education within Washington State and Northern Idaho. I just wanted to make that delineation.
Right. Thank you, Leslie. And so I'm not going to go through all of these, but we do have some frequently asked questions down at the bottom of this page. And so if you have questions, this is a great place to start out with. Read through all of our documentation, see if your question is listed. And then later on, after we finish up this information session, we'll be posting our video where folks can go back and rewatch this anytime that's convenient for them. So without further ado, I'm going to hop into the actual application just to kind of show you what students can expect. inside here, we go over our mission about who we are, our scholarship program, and what types of expenses this scholarship covers. And so we want students to know that this does cover the cost of tuition and fees, textbooks, and on-campus housing for up to 4 years. So we kind of go above and beyond what a lot of other scholarship programs cover, because we realize that, yeah, sure, you might get your tuition and fees covered, but you still need a place to live. You need room and board funding in order to go to school. And for some kids, that might be that one obstacle that's keeping them from attaining their educational goals. So we do cover, you know, through your financial aid office, the cost of your on-campus housing for up to 4 years. Next page is all about those eligibility requirements that we talked about. I'm not going to re-review those, but you know, if you have questions about whether or not you should apply, please feel free to give our office a call. Leslie or myself can answer those questions for you. We want to make sure that we're not wasting anybody's time by having them fill out an application they're not eligible for. So please feel free to give us a call. That phone number is 509-448-1412. And we'll just kind of hop into, once again, we'll do a review of those important dates. So March 15th is our application deadline. That is a hard deadline due to the short nature of our review process. We really have to have all materials in no later than midnight on March 15th. So make sure if you're a counselor or a student or someone doing the recommendations that you get everything in on time. We really want to make sure that the student has every opportunity to get funding through this source. And once again, the award letters will be sent April 1st. We do have an award ceremony that is scheduled for May 6th. So some of our larger scholarship recipients will be invited to attend our award ceremony, and we'll be presenting those awards to them at a banquet. And then our verification of enrollment forms are due before the start of the academic term. So after the student is enrolled and before the academic term starts, that's going to vary from school to school depending on if you're on the semester or the quarter system. But we just need to make sure that we get those enrollment forms, verification of enrollment forms in as soon as possible so we can get those students funded. So, and then just a quick application checklist. I've kind of reviewed all of this already, but hopefully students will attend this info session. If they don't attend it, live, they can watch it, record it on our website. We're really encouraging kids to gather up their documents and record their video before they start filling out the application, just so that they kind of have all their ducks in a row. So getting that family authorization form downloaded, signed, and scanned, and given to the guidance office at your school to get your unofficial transcripts. Having those ready to go before you really start diving into your application is great. And then recording that video, there's a link on the website. There's a link here to get the kids to where they need to go to record that. Remembering that you're tying it back to their Believe in Me story, who first believed in them and how has it shaped them and how is it setting them up for success with their future educational goals. And then the student information, that's the form part of all of the application where you get to fill out all of the, here's where I went to school, and we'll go over that in detail in a bit. And then the essay portion, we do have, I believe, 4 essay questions. There's a maximum of 250 words or 1,000 characters per question, and that will be truncated. If you go beyond the 1,000 characters, it'll get cut off. We won't be able to read it. So just want to make sure students are aware that there is an essay portion. You will be able to download that PDF of the entire application so students can read what those questions are, and it's got some guidance on how to answer the questions. And then those 2 recommendations, we strongly encourage the applicants to reach out to them ahead of time, say, hey, I'm putting you down for a reference, and if you can get that turned in as soon as possible, that would be great. And then just get that application completed before March 15th. So then we go into the actual submission part of the application. And this is where, we'll give them a link to go record and submit their video. We've got the prompts here for what they need to include in that video. If you're an applicant, you're filling this out, then you need to make sure that you check this box to say, yes, I have submitted my video. The next page just starts collecting information about the student.
It's 12:30.
For the interruption, I have my little reminders so that I can make my meetings on time. But this is just information about the student, your name, your address, phone number, email, last 4 digits of your social security number so that we can match you up with your financial aid office, and then your birth date. And then this is where you're going to start telling us about how you fit up with our selection criteria. So you can check 1, 2, 5, 10 of these. With all of them that apply, we'd like to hear about it, but be ready to share how, you know, these characteristics about you have been things that you've been able to overcome and have kind of inspired you for your educational journey. In upcoming years, we would like for you to check this box if you have received a scholarship from Believe in Me in the past. We also have little reminders all throughout our application to save your application. The save button is here for a reason, and that's because we don't want all of your hard work to go and get wasted because your computer crashed or the internet went down. We really want you to be able to pick up where you left off if something tragic like that's happened. So don't be afraid to hit the save button. What will happen is an email will be sent to your inbox, and inside of that, there will be a link for you to be able to resume right where you left off, and you can click through and get to where you were and start over again. Not from the beginning, but from where you left off. So we're recommending that folks save regularly and routinely. And then from there, after we learn about the students, we want to know about their parents. So we're just asking for one parent or guardian. If you're over the age of 18, just press or type in NA in the name fields, and then be sure to put your own email and phone number in here so that our form doesn't error out. And then the rest of this information here as applicable. So this is the next page where we are asking you to complete the family authorization form and provide us with contact information for your college and career counselor contact. This is so that, you know, if you've been selected for a scholarship, before we award that to you, we will be reaching out to your college and career counselor or your guidance counselor at your school to confirm some of the responses that you've put on your application as it pertains to extracurricular activities or your AP coursework or anything that's not easy for us to verify by looking at your transcripts. And in order for us to be authorized to do that, you will need to upload that signed family authorization form so that we have that to share with your college and career counselor when we do need to verify all of that information. So be sure to, like I said, do that ahead of time before you start filling out your form. It'll just make the whole process easier and faster. Once again, another reminder to save your work as you go along. If you're kind of following through our checklist, you will have your unofficial transcripts ready to upload as well. If you've never done that before, we've got some ideas on how you can go about getting that unofficial copy of your transcript. Your school probably has a portal on their website that you can access to do that all online, and you just download it. That's the easiest way. Another way is to email your counselor if you have their email address, and send them that form and say, please give me a copy of my unofficial transcripts. They can usually do that fairly quickly and easily. If you don't know their address, email address, then just march down to your counselor's office or the guidance office and tell them, I need an unofficial copy of my transcript so that I can fill out a scholarship application. Show them the form, and I'm sure they won't have much of a problem getting that for you. And then you just need to get that hopefully in some sort of an electronic format, preferably PDF, but you can even take a picture of those with your phone and upload it here. And then the next question is, we need to get your GPA off of those unofficial transcripts. So somewhere on the transcript, there should be your GPA. That needs to be entered in, and say you're a 2.75, you need to enter it in this format. If you do just 2.7, it's probably going to error out on our form. So it needs to have all, like the 1-digit number and then the 2 digits after the period or the decimal point. So say you were like a 3.81, that's what it would look like. If you're a 3.8, it would look like this. Whoops, excuse me, typo there, 3.80. So you'll just add a 0 if your GPA is calculated that way. If your GPA is lower than a 3.0, please provide us with any extenuating circumstances that you'd like us to consider. So, if you had a setback because of remote learning during COVID, maybe you didn't have access to the internet, so you couldn't do online school, or, whatever your extenuating circumstances, maybe you had an illness or a death in your family, we want to take that into consideration. Our organization isn't as rigid as many others, and we really want to make sure that we know all the factors that are going into where your GPA is at, because the GPA is not the only thing that we're looking at. We just kind of want to know the whole picture. So if you have any extenuating circumstances that you feel have contributed to a lower GPA, we want to hear those in this field here. And on our next page, we're just asking for information about the schools that you have attended. And we realize that many schools many students have attended more than one school throughout the course of their high school. And so you do have the opportunity to enter more than one here. We're just asking for the school name, the city and state where you attended, and the dates that you attended there. And then if you need to add, you'll want to put your current one in first, if you're currently enrolled in school, and then kind of go back in time to the others and enter them in chronological order with the most recent one listed first. And so if you need to add another school, you'll see this little arrow points you down here to just click and add another item. That will allow you to pull up and enter another school and tell us where it was and what dates you attended. Similarly, we want to know, we realize that your transcript doesn't tell us the whole picture. So maybe you've taken advanced placement courses somewhere. Maybe you've taken a special course at another school. Maybe you've been dually enrolled, or you've taken a summer course somewhere else. This is where you can tell us what other type of work that you've done at a different school. So we're going to ask for the course or the program name. We want to know the school, city, state, and the dates attended, and approximately how many hours you attended per week. And I think that's probably going to be a whole number there. You just want to enter like, I attended for 10 hours, or I attended for 5. And if you need to add more than one course, once again, just use this little plus add item, and it will allow you to add that in. And this is just for coursework that's not already on your high school transcript. So advanced placement, special courses, dual enrollment, or summer courses outside of your transcript. On our next page, we want to know what you're doing outside of school. What types of extracurricular activities are you associated with? Are you in any school-related clubs, any athletics? Are you, what kinds of things are you involved in? Maybe you play in a band somewhere. We want, these all show that you're active in your community and you're doing stuff. So go ahead and share the dates that you participated, how many hours you've done total. Give us a description of that activity or the organization that you're involved with, and then what position you held. So take, for instance, if you were doing some sort of a basketball league, you could say what position you played on, what team you were on. Just give us a picture of what you did. And once again, you can add more than one by using this plus add item link here. On the next page, we'd like to know what kind of community service or volunteer work that you've done that's unpaid. We really do like to see that kids are involved out in the community. So similar to the other pages, We want to know what organization you served and what types of activities that you performed and how many hours you volunteered for that organization. And you can add more than one of those as well. And then we also want to know if you've been able to juggle, a paid work experience with going to school and any extracurricular activities. So just go ahead and list any chunks of time where you've been gainfully employed. So the dates, how many hours that you were employed, the employer's name, and what type of responsibilities you had at that job. And you can add more than one as well here. And then finally, we'd like to know if you've been awarded for any performance or if you've received any honor. So examples would be like the honor roll, or if you got some sort of a scholarship award or whatever for your performance. We want to celebrate your wins with you. We want to see that you've been successful. And so you can give us a rough date of when you were awarded or received those honors, and then a description of those awards would be helpful for us. And you can add more than one as well. And then any AP capstone and running start courses are also, we need to kind of know how you did with those because they probably won't be on your high school transcript either. So just give us each one of the course names and the actual score that you got in that class. And we realize that could be different based on whatever institution that you went to, but an A+, or whatever the grade was that you got in that class would be good.
I also wanted to just jump in really quick and say that these shouldn't necessarily be deterrent from students wanting to apply either. These are just opportunities for them to list anything that they want to highlight in terms of tests that they've taken, activities they've participated in, but definitely pass on the information that it's not a deterrent, or it won't detract from your score if you don't feel like you want to talk about which classes or which advanced placement scores you got or anything like that. These are all just opportunities for you to highlight yourself and promote yourself.
Thanks, Leslie. And then we also asked some questions about their education and career path. We want to know what their future plans are. And one of the things that we're really excited about helping promote would be students who are interested in pursuing a career that's involved with a STEM career. So we've done our best in trying to find every job out there possible, but you'll notice in here that the ones with an asterisk, those are what we consider STEM careers. And we probably will give a little bit of a priority to those students who are interested in pursuing a STEM career, but fully realizing that that's not for everyone. We do fund many, many, many other career paths. So if you don't see your career path in here, we also have career path not listed or career path not listed, but it is a STEM related field. And then we offer an opportunity for you to enter those details if you did select other. Similarly, we have a list of the various schools that are accredited by both Washington State and Idaho State. And we've got a pretty exhaustive list here, but if there's a school not listed here and we missed something, we've got a box here for you to enter those details if you did select other. And then it kind of rolls into the essay portion of the application. And once again, if you get that far and need to stop, feel free to press save. You can always come back the next day. Maybe you need to go talk to your counselor, or maybe you need to go check with your references, or maybe you need to think about how you're going to answer the essays. You can always save it and come back to it later. So the essay portion, we also want to make sure this is not an area where students feel overwhelmed and, just don't want to proceed. So we're providing some tips and recommendations for how to submit a successful essay. Once again, we have that 250 word limit. We want students to stay pretty focused. When we ask a question, just kind of stick to that subject. And then also make sure that before you submit your answers that you have someone look over your work, check your drafts for grammar, spelling, punctuation, clarity of thought, and just that you're being concise and get feedback from, you know, friends, your teachers, a mentor or an advisor, somebody that can help you really optimize it for your application. So the questions on the application are, we want to know what your life's goals and objectives are and how your future course of study will contribute to your career plans. Why have you chosen this path? And we've given some bullet points here of things that you might want to work into your essay. Once again, you can save in between your essay questions and you'll get that email for you to resume later on. And all you have to do is copy and paste your typed response into this form field, and you can move on to the next question. And then, how have you demonstrated grit and determination in overcoming challenges in your life? This is really, really important since we have lowered that GPA requirement for our scholarship application. We really want you to have a strong demonstration of how you are going to persevere and be successful with your goal of attaining this career path. So we've given you some ideas on what you can incorporate into your essay. They don't have to be used, but they're just there to kind of provide you with a little bit of guidance. Once again, there's a maximum 250 words or 1,000 characters. Copy and paste what you've put together after you have someone review it with you, and press save, and you're ready to go on to the next question. And then our third question is all about those people that have influenced and mentored you throughout your life. We want to know who your Believe in Me person was and how they've helped you to believe in yourself. And for some students out there, they may not have a mentor in particular. So this is a great opportunity to get creative and think outside the box, and maybe just if you look up to someone that you're aware of, even if it's a public figure, kind of weaving that into your story and showing how it has inspired you and why you believe in yourself as a result of that is really what we're looking for. And then our last essay question is your opportunity to tell us why you're the best candidate for this award. Tell us how you distinguish yourself from the other scholarship applicants that we're going to be reading through, and why we should fund your education. This is your opportunity to shine. So don't be afraid to give yourself a pat on the back here. So we've given you some ideas for areas that you can share that would be meaningful for our review committee. And the very last thing, I believe, is your references. So this is where you're going to give us the name, email, and phone number for your academic reference, as well as your personal reference, and we will kind of take the ball from there. As we mentioned earlier in this information session, it's really important for you to kind of let them know ahead of time that this is going to be coming. And then if you haven't received a notice from us saying that they've submitted, it's probably a good idea to reach out to them periodically and just say, hey, did you get that request for my recommendation? I haven't seen that it's popped through yet. So I'm just giving them a gentle, friendly reminder that your application won't be considered unless they get that complete by March 15th. It's really important. So, and then the last thing to do is just sign the application. When you sign your application, you are giving us permission to review these records and to verify your activities. And we'd like to get acknowledgement that you've received your scholarship once you get to school and the funds have come through. If you could just send us a letter acknowledging that you've received that, that would be great. And if for any reason you are unable to use the funds, you'll return those. We don't foresee that happening, but we realize that life happens and plans change. So just let us know if there's going to be an issue with that, and we'll work with you to make that happen. And then you are signing here that you're only going to use the funds for the purposes that are on this application, as well as we don't want you doing any illegal activities with these funds. And then this is the one that excites us the most, is that you're agreeing to help us get the word out about how great you are and why we've chosen to fund your schooling. So we want to publicize your award. We're going to put you on social media. We're going to have our awards banquet, and we really want to celebrate you and all the successes that you've had in receiving this academic scholarship. And that's basically it. Leslie, did I forget anything on the scholarship application that we should have addressed?
I think that that's pretty much it. The only other thing that I was just going to mention is that we will have in place a pretty rigorous reminder process. So we're currently building that out. But what's nice about that is that I feel like typically you don't get a lot of remember to submit emails when you're working on scholarships. And we're going to have that in place both for the students and also for the recommenders as well.
Awesome. So do any of our participants have any questions? Feel free to pipe in and we can get those answered for you. Okay, well, it seems to me like maybe most of our participants have had their questions answered already through our in-depth presentation and information session. So once again, if anyone has any further questions after watching this video and would like to reach out, you can get in contact with our office by calling 509-448-1412. And you can also reach out to us by emailing admin@believeinme.org. And someone should get back to you within about 24 hours if you send us an email. So thanks for watching, everyone, and good luck to all of our applicants. We wish you the best with your educational journey. Take care.